He had red hair, thick glasses, and a soft-spoken voice. He was 13 years old. But behind that awkward smile was rage, ancient, festering, and waiting to explode. On a warm August morning in 1993, a 4-year-old boy named Derek Roby walked to summer camp by himself and never came home. He didn't vanish. He was found brutally murdered just yards from safety. And the killer? Not a man hiding in the shadows, but another child. This is a chilling story of Eric Smith, the boy who murdered without mercy and smiled. The town of Savona, New York, was the kind of place people went to get away from the chaos of the world. A quiet community with fewer than 1,000 people, where families knew each other, doors were left unlocked, and kids rode their bikes until sunset without worry. In this peaceful town lived the Roby family. Derek Roby, their youngest, was just 4 years old, bubbly, blonde-haired, and full of boundless energy. He loved baseball, superheroes, and playing with his older brother. On August 2nd, 1993, Derek was excited to go to his local summer recreation program. He had been going for days. But this time, he asked to walk alone. Just 1 block. His mother, Doreen, hesitated. Her maternal instincts flared for a moment, but it was broad daylight, and the walk was short. So she agreed. It was the last time she would see her son alive. When Derek didn't show up at the park, camp counselors assumed he was late. But as minutes turned to an hour, concern grew. A call was placed at the Roby home, and Doreen's heart dropped. "I thought he was there," she said. "I sent him 15 minutes ago." That's when the search began. Neighbors combed the area. Police were called. Panic spread through the community. Could he have fallen? Been kidnapped? And then, less than 150 yards from the park, in a wooded area behind a baseball diamond, a volunteer stumbled on a horrific scene. Derek's small body lay face down on a forest path. His lunch sat neatly beside him, still in its paper bag. But the boy was dead, beaten, strangled, and violated. The brutality of the attack stunned even seasoned officers. This wasn't a moment of panic. It was prolonged, personal, rage-filled. Savona would never be the same. As investigators scoured the crime scene, they ruled out strangers or passers-by. There was no sign of forced abduction, no foreign DNA, no adult footprints. And then a local boy came forward. Eric Smith, 13 years old, told police he'd seen Derek walking alone that morning. He even joined the search. Eric was known in town. He was quiet, awkward, and often seen riding his bike alone. Red-haired and bespectacled, Eric had been bullied his entire life. Classmates called him Ginger, Dumbo, for eyes. He had few, if any, real friends, but it was his effect that raised red flags. He seemed oddly excited while talking to police. His story kept shifting. His eyes were flat, his tone detached. For days after the murder, Eric walked into the police station with his mother and calmly said, "I think I hurt someone." He confessed in detail to luring Derek into the woods, to hitting him with a rock, to strangling him, to sodomizing him with a stick. He showed no tears, just cold precision. Why would a 13-year-old boy murder a 4-year-old child? That question would haunt everyone, psychologists, prosecutors, parents, for decades. Eric later said he was angry at the world, at bullies, at his parents, at himself. "I was just so angry," he told psychologists, "and I had no one to take it out on." So when he saw Derek walking alone, something inside him snapped. Mental health experts diagnosed Eric with intermittent explosive disorder, a condition linked to uncontrollable fits of rage. They noted his family history of mental illness, including his father's bipolar disorder and violent outbursts. Still, there were no signs of sexual abuse or torture in his past. No trauma severe enough to explain such depravity. Eric told investigators he enjoyed watching Derek die. Whether that was cruelty or a twisted cry for control, no one could say for sure. But one thing was certain, Eric knew exactly what he had done. Because of the brutality of the crime, Eric was tried as an adult. The defense argued he suffered from mental illness and didn't fully understand death or consequence. They presented evidence of Eric's bullying, family dysfunction, and social rejection. The prosecution, however, presented something more chilling: Eric's own words. In his tape confession, he described every detail. He talked about the weight of the rock, the way Derek struggled, the moment he decided to go further. The jury was visibly shaken. At just 13, Eric had committed one of the most violent child-on-child murders in American history. He was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 9 years to life, the maximum allowed at the time. His sentencing marked the beginning of a national debate. Should children be tried as adults for adult crimes? Eric spent the next 27 years behind bars, in juvenile facilities, then adult prisons. He earned a GED, studied law, joined therapy programs. He applied for parole 10 times, starting in 2002. Every time Derek Roby's parents showed up, "We relive it every time," said Doreen. "Every board meeting, every hearing, we lose him all over again." They said Eric lacked empathy, that his remorse felt rehearsed, that he remained a danger. Parole was denied again and again until October 2021. Nearly 3 decades after murder, Eric Smith, now 41, was granted parole. He was released in February 2022 to a halfway house, location undisclosed. The boy who murdered was now a man living among us. Eric gave a few interviews after his release. He spoke softly, carefully, almost academically. He claimed he was no longer the boy who had killed, that years of therapy had changed him, that he now understood the depth of what he'd done. But critics argue remorse after the fact doesn't undo the past. They ask, can a child who commits murder ever be truly safe? Should justice include a path to redemption, or is some evil permanent? In some ways, Eric Smith remains an enigma. He never killed again. He never committed another crime. But what he did, the choice he made, is forever seared into America's criminal conscience. And for the Roby family, the pain is eternal. Doreen once said, "Every time I see a 4-year-old, I wonder what Derek would have been like. Would he play baseball? Would he have married? Would he have kids? We'll never know." What do you think? Is 27 years in prison enough for murdering a child? Should Eric Smith have been kept behind bars for life? Or does our justice system owe even its youngest offenders a second chance? Let us know in the comments. And remember, at Whispers of Crime, we don't just tell stories. We peel back the silence until the truth speaks for itself. Subscribe for more gripping, real crime stories every week.